Matt, what do you have to do to make sure the dynamics of you guys playing really big and some of these teams you're going to play being smaller goes in your direction the best it can?
Yeah, don't turn the ball over more than anything. Just, be efficient on the offensive end, make good decisions, take what they give us. If they're going to overplay things and sag and double and triple team, just make easy fundamental passes and move the basketball and get them in a rotation. I think when we come in with predetermined thoughts and don't play off our instincts, that's where we struggle, no matter who we're playing. I think we've proven that throughout the year. When we just take what people give us, we've had a lot of success.
Next question for Coach.
Steve McGarvey, Associated Press. Just wondering, what's the biggest thing that sticks out when you look at Yale on film? What is it that catches your attention and impresses you?
Probably the number one thing is how hard they play. I think anytime you can go through a season, then you get to the end and you gotta win your tournament. I've always had respect for the coaches that have to win their tournament and just the resolve of their players. It's so much on you as a player and a coach to know, hey, we got to win the quarterfinals, the semifinals, or the championship game to get into the tournament. And it happens to a lot of people across the country. It's very hard, and one game can just knock you out to where you might not even make the NIT or another one of the tournaments. And so it's very hard to do that. But once those type of teams get in there, like that's the concern. Like these guys here have been up against it, and they've played so well and they've played so hard. But Coach Jones does a great job with his group. I think they defend really well. They have positional size. A lot of people will kind of go overboard about our centers and size, but there's still four other positions out there, and they have great positional size in those positions. And those combo forwards that are athletic and strong, they can cause a lot of problems for you by taking away things and getting into passing lanes.
Hey, Matt, Greg Doyle from the Indy Star. You've been to the tournament a ton. I know that. I believe this is the first year Purdue's ever been number one. So I'm guessing this tournament, entering it, I'm wondering, how different does it feel pressure-wise? Because this year is not like a lot of years you've had.
Right. Well, we've been a higher seed before. We were a 2 seed once before. We've been a 3 seed before, so it's our second time being a 3 seed. I think we've been a top. We've never been a 2 seed?
I don't know, but this is the best team you've ever had.
Best team? I thought you were saying seed.
Best team you've ever had. Whether it is or not, that's my point. Is the
you enunciate better in the hallway than you do with that speaker. With that.
Then let's just go back there.
Yeah, this is the first team we've had that started the season in the top 10 and finished in the top 10. We have really good size. You really don't worry about it. You get to your next game. You respect your opponent. You understand what March Madness is all about. You're on a neutral court. And, you have to play the right way. You have your functionality as a team. You can't get away from your strengths, and you want to do your best to, stay away from your weaknesses. And I know that's kind of coaches talk, but it's so true. And I think that's the focus for us. And I think sometimes when you struggle at something, we turned the ball over 10 times in the first half against Indiana. And we then won 6 straight games. But then we turned the ball over in the next game. And so we win a couple games in our tournament, but then we get into that last game when we turn the ball over again. So that's reared its ugly head with us. But yet we've proven that we can get that fixed and go on runs and not turn the basketball over. So I think that's the focus for our team, is to be efficient offensively, take care of the basketball, and then we're really going to help ourselves defensively if we do that.
Coach, Olivia Ray here with Wish TV. Of course, we brought up North Texas to the guys. Travion actually told us that I think it was one of the first summer workouts, and you actually brought in the North Texas film and started showing it to them. Correct. So I wanted to know what went into your thought process there of starting to show it 10 months ago, and what kind of flip or switch that flipped for your team almost a year ago. Well,
it just goes to the last question, is some of the possessions that we had in the North Texas game and not taking care of the basketball, especially in the first half. We like to have those possessions back, just like we like to have some offensive possessions back in the Iowa game and the game at Indiana that I mentioned and a couple others. That is what's going to send you home. Like be intelligent as a player and as a team and understand, okay, it's no different than playing time. Like understand what gets you on the court and understand what gets you off the court. Everybody wants to talk in theory. There's no theory to it. Like take care of the basketball, make simple plays. If they want to double team you, get the ball out of your hands. If they want to cover you one-on-one, be aggressive, things of that nature. But, that's your start. If you don't learn from your losses, then you're a fool. And that's all I was trying to do is like, hey, let's learn from our loss of North Texas and use it as a springboard for next year and put ourselves in a great position, which I think we have. We've put ourselves in a great position. But Yale has also put themselves in a great position. You just got to get into this tournament and then go out and have fun and play to your strengths.
Mike Carmen, Lafayette Journal-Courier. Follow up with that. Is that something you did that was unique to this team, knowing you had everybody back, or is this something that you had done in previous years with teams to start some film stuff like that in the summer?
I don't do it a lot. I've done it a couple times just to kind of, plant that seed, especially if you have a tough loss like we did. But to credit to North Texas and Coach McCaslin, I thought they played better than we did. Even if we'd have won that game, I thought those guys really played well. But no, just trying to use that loss. You always got to take your losses and use them and learn from them, and that's what we were trying to do. And I think that's important for us to really hold on to is just the efficiency of the game and playing the game the right way, because there's a handful of those possessions we'd really like to have back.
Coach, Olivia Wright with Wish TV again. I was listening to Coach Jones talk earlier, and he referenced your relationship, his relationship with Zach Edey and Jaden Ivey. I know the basketball world is small, community is small, but how unique this is to step on the court with him and how great of a job that he's doing at Yale.
Oh, he's been fabulous. Obviously, he's been there a long time, I think 23 years. But he was an assistant for our U19 USA team last year and did a great job and got a gold medal, and coached Caleb First and Jaden Ivey and competed against Zach Edey. So he's very familiar, with our guys. And he's a basketball guy, through and through. Him and his brother have, been in the game a long time. And so like those guys get it, they understand it, and he's been great for Yale. And I've always said that about if more coaches would get that opportunity to have that longevity, I think you'd see more positive returns, and they've obviously seen that at Yale, especially here in the last 5 years with going to the tournament 3 times.
Coach, Andy Craig with the Exponent. I was going to go back to when you're talking about turnovers, like thinking about the IU game, Michigan State, the most recent Iowa game.
There you go.
So you said that we can usually kind of put a stop to that and go on our own run. What's kind of the first thing when you call that timeout after 6 straight turnovers? What are you putting in the players' heads to kind of get back on a roll?
Yeah, I normally get to that timeout before 6, though. I'm normally right at 3. The 3 in the row normally triggers me, but I understand your point. Just keep it simple. I think, everybody and the guys that cover us all the time probably get sick of me saying it, but turnovers it's not just one thing. It can be you're traveling, your bad passes, your pick sixes, offensive fouls in the post. There's a lot of different ways to turn the basketball over, and there's a lot of teams in the country that prove that. I just don't want to be one of them. And just trying to get them to settle down. Sometimes we leave our feet when we pass too much, things of that nature. So whatever has happened, just settling down, getting them to focus on, what we're trying to get accomplished. And how they're defending things. Are they doing something different than what we prepared for? A lot of times, no. Like a lot of times, people that mix things up a lot normally aren't very good at one thing. They're just trying to surprise you. But the people that do one thing normally get pretty good at that one thing. They might change it a little bit. So a lot of it's ball screen coverage and a lot of it's post doubles for us. But when it's just carelessness that has nothing to do with the opponent, and Purdue's beating Purdue, then those are the ones where you just got to settle down and settle into the game. We handle some things differently sometimes in terms of like when things don't go our way, instead of being more simple, we'll try to do more like we're going to get it all back in one possession, and that's not the right way to go about it. When we do it the other way and we settle into the game, we normally have success.
Can you tell us about Yale's offense and what makes Swain so good and what you need from Eric in that matchup?
Yeah, well, Swain is one of those guys that's a threat, right as he steps onto the court. He can shoot off the dribble. He can play in the mid-post. He can obviously catch and shoot. He can dribble into threes. He's just got a real mature pulse to his game. And then obviously he's got a lot of times guys that can shoot the ball. There's something where they can't do. If you make them dribble, you make them go one way or the other, now their percentages really drop. And with him, he can do all of it in terms of scoring the basketball. And so you really want to be able to take up his space and make it hard for him like you would any other scorer or shooter. But, guys, when you have a guy out there that can get 30, 35 points in a game, as a coach, that always scares you. But offensively, they have good balance. They have guards that can really drive the basketball. He's a guy that can really score the basketball. But the other guys, Gabadon's had, individual games where he's scored in the 20s, 30. They have guards that can drive the basketball. Nolan's a guy that's a kind of a matchup nightmare with his athleticism and his quickness. They're guys, Kelly and Jarvis, they can drive the ball there. They can score at the rim. So, they have good pieces. They do a good job with their spacing and kind of their ball screen motion. They do some different things out of it. They have some quick hitters that they can go to. So, they spread you out, and they really try to come and attack people that they think they have a mismatch with, whether that's in the post or driving the basketball.
Last one.
Swain seems like a pretty physically mature, physical sort of guard. Does he compare it all to Pickett and A.J. Hoggard from the Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, I would say more Pickett, but obviously he shoots more threes than Pickett. Pickett's a guy that, East Coast guy, obviously played at Siena, scored a lot of points, scored over 2,000 points. He can really get you off balance and then step back and shoot that fadeaway. He's a more prolific shooter, though, than him. He's more of a scorer, where Pickett's more of a playmaking type guard, too, where he can get other people involved. So I would say a little bit, but I would say Swain, from a scoring standpoint, is probably a little bit better.
Coach, thank you. Good luck tomorrow. A reminder that a recording of this will be available in the NCAA Digital Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts will be available as soon as possible and will be posted shortly. We'll have Texas student athletes at 12:35. Thank you.